Division 3 commentary for the Las Vegas Grand Prix round 11 of season 9 here in this league on F125. I just need to know who the host is for the lobby, and then I can join and commentate away at this incredible race. The championship leader absent from today's race. That leaves a massive open door in the name of the championship and in the name of the entire Division 3. That's the man who is the most consistent out of anyone at the moment is gone. That means Jammy has an absolute open goal in terms of points today. He could take the lead of the championship if he wins today. It would help if he got the fastest lap, but he doesn't have to. If he gets 25 points, he will win. It would take the lead of the championship in Division 3 of Atom's own league. So let's have a look, shall we? We have a couple admin things to sort out in terms of knowing who is doing what. Yeah, not too sure who the host is for D3 though, which is the only thing that's a bit of a struggle at the moment. If anyone can give me an update on who the host is for tonight, that would be good. I haven't got any invite. Oh, we could have a good. I don't mind who it's not, I just need to know who it is, because whoever it is needs to invite me, preferably now. It's currently 5 past. Still no update on who I'm meant to receive an invite from. Feel a bit left on the island here. It's not as active as I thought. It is definitely tonight, but the communication is second to none in terms of who's actually here. Don't know what I'm meant to be doing, but anyone in Twitch chat that can help? I need some help to know who's in the lobby, because it's currently 5 past. No, they're probably in Cawley by now. Who's the D3 host? Not too sure. I'm asking the questions, I'm just not getting any. I've got one answer that didn't really help at all. But yeah, look, no invite at all as well. So apologies for the waiting game for anyone in stream who wants to watch this race. I'm currently not able to actually get into the race in terms of the actual session it's being hosted in. Oh yeah, this is a bit frustrating. I can't find anyone. There we go, we got an answer. Jammy. Right, I need to add Jammy's EA then. Thank God. I've got an answer. That took its time, didn't it? Good. I don't know his EA. I'll try and search for him in Xbox. It's ridiculous, to be honest, because can't yeah, there's no insight, so it's the same as what the other guy experienced the last race. Just doesn't know what he's doing, and he isn't getting any help for it, which is not the best. I have to look at my own YouTube recording and try and find someone on Xbox that I can add, like I can get into the thingy for the race. So seriously, I'm having to work my own way into the lobby, but yeah, whatevs, no biggie. Alright, so Freedom, he's normally here every week. Let's add him. Oh, I should add him on Xbox actually. So how's that not right? Okay, fine. I'll add Razza then. My good old man Razza. There we go. Right. Took a while, but we're in. Right, we're in. Right, we're late, but in a way that's a little bit on them, because I didn't check. Bit of misorganisation there, but hey ho. Right. So, welcome to Division 3 of Ground Effect Racing League here in Sin City in Las Vegas. We're here qualifying a little bit later than usual, but we join qualifying. Gonna get my lap data up, get my track map there so I can see what's going on. And yeah, we'll have a look and see what's going on there. We have one of the rebels, that own Bozzy it is, who's on a lap at the moment, but he's not the first one to do a lap. That honour goes to Lloyd, who's currently 6th at the moment, but no one set a time yet. He's come out of that last complex, he's gone further than the Franco Colapinto was able to. And Lloyd, after a pretty up and down race in Austria, goes over the line with a 31.7 as a benchmark. That immediately gets cursed by Curse D as Freedom in the 46 car, going up to just behind his teammate, that's Hazard, and stayed Daisy in the Ferrari colour, replacing the absent Ferrari driver of GRL Atom as Jammy. This is important as Jammy goes to the top with a 30.9 here in qualifying. But Jammy, the man who can take the championship lead today, but you could also lose the championship second place to Nanu, who is in 15th at the moment.
Anyone wants hot dogs?
Jesus, meanwhile, Tomas, who was very fast in that Alpine in Austria, is now up. Hang on, where is he? There he is. The Sauber now. He's gone from Alpine to Sauber, and he's gone from having pole in the sprint in Austria to having provisional pole here in Vegas. So nothing changing apart from the colours on his car, as they're all coming in now. Nanu, the man who can take second in the championship today, coming into the bits. He's ahead of Jammy by a very small gap, actually. Let me have a look at that gap. That's not it. Hang on, I can't get the right gap. Never mind, we'll just do it with that. Meanwhile, I'm heading into turn 5 with more leader, who's had a bit of an up and down one, but he's keeping there somehow with his attendance. But he's currently in P9. He's having a decent one. He's in a McLaren sandwich though, so he would like to get past Ron Lorne, who's faced really bad luck, especially in Austria and also in Australia and in the Dutch Grand Prix as well. Ron Lorne has faced horrible luck, as well as the Saubers. The McLarens and the Saubers are the ones suffering with bad luck, and while the Saubers have been able to bounce back, the McLarens haven't really been able to. with an exception for Stay Daisy, who stood in for them in Austria. But Turbo Chris as well, watch out for him. He's actually coming up to the line at the moment. He's coming up to the line. Where is he? He's there. He's coming into the pits. So we go back to Morleader, who's in P10 now, as someone's gone up the order. Might be AJ Nolan, who just went up the order. It was. As coming down the straight though, with Morleader in the Alpine, the pink and blue car, who won in SRC in Tier 2 in F123 Vegas, but at the moment the highest place in qualifying for Ground Effect Racing League is 6th at the moment, just under a 10th behind Kieran Nag, who had a pretty decent Austria, although suffered a little bit in terms of having a bit of a skirmish, especially with Red Bulls. Heading through, we have AJ Nolan. This man has been very quick, but similar to Andrea de Chazarez from back in the 80s. Very quick, but does suffer majorly from his mistakes. Major suffering for his mistakes, but he's looking to putting an end to it here. Yeah, we have one of the Ferraris going slowly. Oh no, it is AJ Nolan. He looks like he's going to let this McLaren by. That is Hazard Titch that. No, it's not. It is Romlon. Romlon's on his outlap. Hazard Titch though is on a lap 2/10 up. That would put him ahead of his teammate if he can keep that pace up. Although he would like to get ahead of Daisy as well, which he could do with 2/10 actually. Just needs the right amount of hundreds. Yeah, he's coming down the straight at the moment, and he is still going nicely there. He's keeping it tight on the exit of that first sweeper, and then going out and open on that second sweeper, staying right to the right hand side of our picture. At the moment he's half a second up. That would put him right up the order, ahead of Elite Bleeder potentially. So this could be a great lap here by Hazard Titch, although he has one of the Alpines behind him if I'm not mistaken. Hazard Titch, I think I recognise that name from another league. I might have commentated on this guy in a different league, I'm not too sure though. Maybe PRL, I'm not too sure. If I can update you on that, then I will. But Hazard Titch then, from P11, comes around the final corner, goes up to P4. Beautiful lap by Hazard Titch. That could be, he could be one to watch for sure. Someone in the pits there, I think one of the Williams just gone over the line. Razza to the top of the time. It's a Sauber 1-2. Incredible. A Sauber 1-2, and they're separated by 300ths. I think did one of the Williams. Thomas has just gone over the line. No quicker though. Jammy as well. No, not Jammy. Stay Daisy, should I say. It's just gone over the line as well. Over the line for the only Aston Martin in this race at the moment, which is Turbo Chris. He doesn't move any further. Couple people pitting. We have the Mercedes going slowly here. We have one of the McLarens coming to the line. That is Romlon going into the pits. Stay Daisy though. No, it's not. It's Jammy. 8 seconds. He's starting the lap. Meanwhile, let's go down to one of the Haas's. Elite Bleeder's just gone up to 11th from his original play. Oh no, he's gone up to 8th, should I say. He went from 11th to 8th. Good lap from him. He's 4 thousandths ahead of Kieran Nag. Incredible. Heading down the straight though. Elite Bleeder. Great stuff from him, but his teammate Alpha Heated not doing as well here in qualifying, although I reckon that could be because his race pace is good, who knows. As we have Turbo Chris on an invalid lap. We have one of the Red Bulls round. Is that a Red Bull? That's a Red Bull, isn't it? That's Owen Bossi disqualified from the session. The man who was on provisional pole earlier is now out of the session. He spun and he's tried to recover, and the game has disqualified him from qualifying. He will start from 18th. Dead last. As meanwhile, Eamon McCucken has gone 2/10 off the pole time and 300ths ahead of Stay Daisy. And he's only, wow, look from 4th to 6th, that they've all done at 1:30.9. They're all separated within a tenth of each other. Incredible stuff. But the Saubers, the dominant force here in qualifying at the moment. Let's see if anyone else can beat that. Although, look at what's McCucken doing. I'm not too sure. He's trying to drift over a curb. It looks like it hasn't worked though. As meanwhile, I think we have maybe one of the Hasses on a lap. We're going to go down to Alpha Heated. No, he's 4 seconds off the pace. I think we have Kieran Nag on a lap though. We do. No, we don't. He's a tenth off. He's just overtaken the Haas in the pits. Very aggressive from him there. Meanwhile, we have Freedom in the 46 car, who's coming down the straight here, and he is on a time lap, and he is going flat out all the way down the straight here. So we have on the Saubers behind, that's Thomas as well on a lap. So we'll cut to him afterwards as well. Heading around here for Freedom in the Williams Atlassian car. The car that's had so much success in F1, although he's on an uphill rise at the moment. Oh, he's actually in the pits, never mind. And also the Saubers in the pits, and the Ferrari behind that. I reckon he's coming to the pits as well. State Daisy, yep, into the pits. So I built up all that hype. Oh, into the wall for State Daisy, who's out of qualifying and into the wall at the pit entry on the pit splitter. That is not what you want to see, although he is still in fourth. Unlike Owen Boss, he doesn't go to the back with that damage. He just stays in fourth now. That is not the best for State Daisy, who now stays in fourth. And is absolutely, that was a horrific jump. Going into the pit lane entry way too fast. And into the wall. We have the Alpine Amore leader on a lap. As we have as well behind that, it's Turbo Chris on that lap. They're all on out laps at the moment. Turbo Chris being let through here. Wonder if that's strategical. As we see the Alpine there. Here we have Kieran Nag, the Mercedes driver, looking to bag a good qualifying. Meanwhile, we have Jamie as well. Watch him today. Watch where he finishes, because if he wins, he would take the lead of the championship from Atom, who is absent today. His car being driven instead by State Daisy, who just crashed it. But also watch out for Nanu, because if Jamie does badly, Nanu will overtake Jamie in the championship. And Turbo Chris, watch him, because he could very well get up to second if he somehow pulls out a miracle. But look at the track map there. Look at the top of the track map. They're all coming out the pits for their final runs here. This is what we all want to see now. Let's cut to, was it Lloyd? No, it's more leader. 3/10 up on his lap already. He could be on for a good result here in qualifying. We have on the Saubers pulling over for him. More leader. Then comes Turbo Chris behind that. I'm pretty sure. Or is he at? No, he's ahead. So actually, do we have a look at Curse? No, we don't. We'll go to Turbo Chris, because Turbo Chris is further along on his lap, and he's also, oh, and that Haas there, very close to contact there. Not too sure where he was meant to go. There's a lot of lines you can take through that section, but that would have been very distracting. Although, disregarding that, 2.1 seconds out that lap, that 144.1 is not representative at all of Turbo Chris's pace, and I know that for a fact after watching him over the last few races. He's been well within the top 6. So, into the last few corners for the 72 Aston Martin, who invalidates and will start on the same row as Owen Bozzi. Not the best for him there. Meanwhile, we go up to the Alpine Amore leader, who's 2/10 up on his lap, heading out of the final corner. It looked like he had a lot of traffic though, heading down that straight, and he is into the pits. He backs out of his lap, and he's still in P10. Interesting. McLaren behind that goes straight on. As Amore leader retires from the session, Freedom starts a lap. One of the Saubers starting a lap as well, as I think one of the Mercedes. As Elite Bleeder's on a lap at the moment as well. And the Mercedes of Nanu, the Mercedes of Kieran Nag. I think he's on a lap. I'm not too sure though. He's coming out of the last corner. And on the soft tires he is on a lap. He's going over the line here. He's definitely not on an out lap. over the line, although it looks like a very slow lap. It looks like he's starting another lap, actually. He is. Meanwhile, I think one of the V-Cars just went over the line to start his own lap. Rom Lawn, 2/10 up. Has a titch. It looks like he didn't improve. Oh no, he improved by 6/10. So he's ahead of Elite Bleeder. AJ Nolan out. Again, another crash. Another harsh mistake for Nolan there. Not too sure what happened there. And nearly crashing into the back of him. Thank God for the ghosting, because that would have taken him out the session. Meanwhile, I think that is... There we go. We have Kirst in the Alpine. 6/10 up on his lap. Not going to move him any higher up the order, though. As I think Nanu's just... Oh no, Jammy just went up to second. Jammy went up to second. Did Chris just go over the line again? He did. Chris just set a 34.0. Very... That's a lap on low battery. That's a V-carb round. That is the other V-carb of McCucken, who is in P4, but is not going to be able to get any higher. Raza Gamer doesn't extend his pole advantage. Thomas goes to the line here. Nanu takes pole position with a great lap from the Mercedes. Pole there for Nanu. Incredible stuff there from the Mercedes. 3/10 ahead of his nearest rival. The guys behind him, the 4 cars behind him, are all within a tenth of each other. Incredible. As the orange Iron Brew looking helmet for the Sauber car goes through there, but the Saubers line out second and fourth. But Nanu takes a great stunning last lap bonsai pole position, and the whole field within a second of each other until you get to the laps of Kirst and Turbo Chris, which aren't really representative, I don't think, especially not for Turbo Chris. That's definitely not a lap that represents his pace, from what I believe. I reckon he can do a lot better than that in the race. So, we keep going here, and as we have a look at that beautiful palace, which I've forgotten the name of because I don't know enough about Vegas. As Kieran wants me to go in a party with him, so it looks like we could have a mid interview with Kieran Nag if I set up the Twitch stream right. Hang on a sec. Oh, and I'm in a Red Bull. So it looks like I could be driving and commentating at the same time. Okay, good. I'm going to invite Kieran Nag to the party. Oh. So we could have an interview from Kieran Nag, and also I'm going to be driving for a little bit because, as you can see, I'm in a Red Bull for some reason, which is good. I'm not sure, because the session's just going to start completely, isn't it? So... Oh, it's a formation lab. Okay, actually, do you know what? Let's have a look then. We'll wait for Kieran Knight to join, but meanwhile, we're gonna wait for everyone else. And we're gonna have a little look here at what it takes on a formation lap here. So a bit of a last minute change. We're on the mediums, no setup. But as you can see, oh, 2 cars going straight back to the grid already. That's Own Body and Turbo Chris straight back to the grid already. At the moment, incredible. The back row of the grids, minus myself, are out of the race. Not too sure if I should just drive and just retire in the pits after lap 1, or if I should just retire off the start. I'm not too sure what to do at the moment. I've invited Kieran Nag in the party, but he hasn't joined yet. Well, I can't hear him anyway. Just go into Twitch chat. Cut the chicane here, that's a different line there. And round goes McCucken on the formation lap. That's a different way to heat up your tyres. I'm just going to pass people a minute, just so I can go up the order. AJ Nolan, he's down the order after a very unfortunate crash at the end there. Both V-carbs suffering crashes. Alpha Heated in the Haas there. Oh my lord. That's probably my fault. Oh god. Oh no. This shouldn't have happened, should it? We didn't even make that much contact as well. Anyway, after that half formation lap where we took out Alpha Heated, I can't even retire yet, can I? I'm gonna have to retire off the start. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna retire from the start and go from there. As everyone else goes to the grid, as we see from the P19 grid slot. I literally can't move. As we have Aspect in the chat as well. As they all line up onto the grid here for Division 3. McCucken going up to his grid slot up in P9 if I'm not mistaken. We're going to retire off the start. Here we go. We can't retire yet. So here we go, 5 lights on here for the Ground Effect Racing League, and we're away. As the Red Bull of Joseph Singh retires from this session already, as he is meant to be commentating, not driving. And turn 1, it looks like there's been chaos happening. As further back, look, let's have a look. Nanu holds the lead then. Ahead of everyone else is a Red Bull round. Is that not? Oh, that's me retiring from the session. As meanwhile, the Williams of Freedom looks like he's had a bad start. As meanwhile, Turbo Chris is already under pressure as well. Look at that, there are a swarm of beans. Oh, big shot there. Round goes the Haas, and he gets completely hit there by the V-Carb driver. One of the Ferrari, State Daisy, has gone off as well. Absolute chaos here in Vegas, and we're only round the 6th corner. With the leaders here, the Mercedes of Kieran Nag holds the lead from Raz Gamer. There as they were for the top 4. Great start by Hazard Titch. He gets up the order. Then comes Kieran Nag, who's meant to be in the party with me, but he isn't. Then comes Lloyd. And then comes more leader. And then look at that, the Alpine there. Cursed. Look at there's, I think there's contact, maybe a lock-up. As there's a Bullard on the front of the V-Carb. It looks like it's come off now. Well, I think that's the V-Carb of McCucken. It is. As there's battling at the back here with the Williams, who's going down the straight into the next corner. Look at that. He's side by side with the Haas car of Elite Bleeder, who heads into this corner very late on the brakes. Big lock up for one of the V-Carbs. That's McCucken. As meanwhile, State Daisy goes very wide. And nearly contact there. We run aboard with the Haas driver, who now goes down the straight. As meanwhile, we head back up the order here. They head round this last corner for the first time. As meanwhile, there's a move here for one of the McLarens as McCucken has damage. There's contact between Ron Malone and McCucken. Ron Malone having a pretty good start, hopefully. That doesn't go as bad as his Australia race. As meanwhile, we look down the field here. Turbo Chris is now going to have a look at McCucken as well. McCucken being cooked, heading into turn 5, the V-Carb not being overtaken yet. So we head up the order. And the Sauber, we ride on board with the second of the Saubers as Turbo Chris does get past McCucken. As meanwhile we have the Sauber here going down the straight, heading into the sweepers. As McCucken's round, McCucken's off. Where is he? There he is. McCucken in the 77 V-Carb has gone round, and what is he doing? I think he's trying to cause a safety car. It looks like he's stuck in this runoff area, and he is struggling to get out of that corner. Terrible luck for McCucken, who now hits the wall as well. Not the best race so far. Meanwhile, Thomas gets ahead of Jammy. Very important for the championship. Jammy side by side with with Thomas in the Sauber. The 3 Ferrari powered cars, 2 of them are Saubers, 1 of them is a factory Ferrari car. But heading around the outside for the red 99 car. And he's lost the position. AJ Nolan and Freedom also battling as well. As meanwhile, side by side here with the 69 Sauber heading around the last corner. Lloyd and Kieran Nag side by side as well, as it's nearly 3 wide as Hazard Titch looks for a move as there's a safety car deployed. As meanwhile we have a look back here, Kieran Nag nearly costing Mercedes, we did cost Mercedes 6th as Lloyd got through, more leader nearly got through there, But absolute chaos at this start, as we have the V-Carb of McCucken having a very bad race, and he's got a safety car at the moment, so now he can catch up. So also Joseph Singh, who's your commentator today, being spawned onto the grid because he joined late and didn't get the... I think he just spun again, or he didn't spin again. I thought I saw the V-Carb go round of Emon, but luckily he didn't. As meanwhile, as McCucken retires from the session, he gets a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. The field are neutralised. Here. On the outside goes Thomas. And Kieran Nag, and I think it's green flag again, so it was a virtual safety car, it wasn't a full safety car. Heading into the heavy braking zone before the strip. Heading down the strip. State Daisy gets past the elite bleeder, as you can see. The aftermath of that. Meanwhile, you see them all down the Las Vegas strip. Going past Caesar's Palace. Flying past the Venetian. And into the braking zone. Big lock up there from one of the Saubers. Battling with a Haas. And Turbo Chris, who looks like he's got up into P12 after starting down in 17th. But he's capitalised off the start of all that chaos, the usual chaos at turn 1 here at Vegas. Meanwhile, we have the Williams of Lloyd, and round nearly for the Mercedes of Kieran Nag. They're side by side now, heading round. This is like me and Lennon Rawding, like I showed in the pre-show. As meanwhile, the Alpine looking to go around the outside of Lloyd. Lloyd lost out there to Kieran Nag. He tried to have a go at the man who lost the car there, but instead he's lost out now to the Alpine, squeezing the Alpine, and now the Red Bull goes into the back of him nearly. Owen Bozzi, who's got a lot of position since the start, yet struggling under braking, it looks like, as into the back of the Williams goes the Alpine of Moore Leader, who led his front wing into the rear diffuser of Lloyd. As we look back through the field, as there's a bit of loosey-goosey action between the last 3 runners on the race. The Haas here looking like he's a bit low on straight line speed or low on power. It sounded like it from his revs. As meanwhile down the strip, this could be... Is Raza Gamer going to get a run? He is. He might have a small chance of getting past Turbo Chris. Meanwhile, we're going to have a quick look back at the Red Bull. And actually, we're going to have a look at this battle here. 10th between them, and they're all passing each other. Let's look at that, the battle for the leaders shaping up. As they're 10th within each other, then comes Moore Leader, who is past Lloyd. That's important for the race as Raza gets past for the lead of the race, ahead of the Mercedes. Incredible. The Ferrari behind him looking to make a move as well. Nanu up, down into second. Raza back up into the lead. The man who's won the most races, tied with Lloyd, who's just gone down to 10th. Lloyd is Raza looking like he could take his 3rd win of the season here on lap 5. If he can stay in that position for another 20 laps, he will take his 3rd win in Grand Theft Racing League. But of course, he's had the inconsistency of being out of the race a couple times, so that will hurt his chances. Meanwhile, Rom Lawn looking like he's suffering again. As meanwhile, the other Ferrari here going past the sole remaining AJ Nolan in the V-Carb. Is heading round there. Also, look at that Freedom! Whoa! Into the back of the Ferrari goes Freedom! Very late on the brakes. That looked... Well, that looked tooth and nail, that one. That was absolutely committed under braking. Nearly ending his race. He's lucky it didn't end his race, if I'm honest. Heading down the straight here. Massive lock up there for Jamie, who needs to get ahead of Nanu, because he's the biggest threat to him in the championship. If Nanu gets 7 points over Jamie, he will get ahead of Jamie in the championship. So the Ferrari really needs to get up to the lead as he can, and he's actually ran by my idea because he's just gone straight past him down the strip with incredible timing. Right on cue, gets ahead of Nanu and now chasing after the man in the position where he needs to be. As Jamie needs this win today, he needs the win to solely secure himself a chance at the championship, as he would lead the championship if he won today. Heading down the straight here. Look at that side by side between them. Both Mercedes are in battles here. One of them defending, the other one looks like he's attacking. He's up the field. Ron Lawn in the pits in the McLaren. As you can see on the graphic, he's down in 17th in the pits. He's the first one in the race to actually pit without DNFing. From what I can see, is heading down the straight here. We have one of the Saubers here, looking for a shot at Nanu. Nanu losing time on his tyres here, tearing up his tyres like he did in Australia. It looks like he's suffering from a bit of graining on those mediums at the moment. We go right up close to the right-hand side, the left-hand side of Toma's helmet. I said rather, I don't know, I was meant to say Toma's. Meanwhile, there's a bit of a trolley train going on. Instead of a trolley train, it's a Stay Daisy train from 13th all the way down to 16th. Elite Bleeder, though, struggling on traction again. But meanwhile, look at that. The Mercedes struggling there. So you see 1, 2. There's Lloyd there in a battle here. Going side by side. That's Turbo Chris as well. Well, the Alpine's cursed. What's happened to Curse? He's down the straight. I think he might have made a mistake there because he's lost about 3 positions on this straight already. But he's now got the DRS. Maybe that was DRS chicken. The other Alpine goes up ahead, I think, nearly of Kieran Nag. Turbo Chris up into 9th. I said his qualifying wasn't representative of his pace. No, I was absolutely correct. Round there for Lloyd. And into the wall for the Haas. Incredible. Alpha heated, will be heated after that one, as that was very tense stuff. It's into the pits, comes the Williams, who had a power slide and a half in the background after Turbo Chris passed him, and he will now join Rom Lawn in the people who have pitted club. As there's contact there, the Mercedes and the Alpine, as I think that's Kieran Nag. It is Kieran Nag has been cursed by the Alpine of cursed. And it's not a safety car, but it's a huge shunt on the exit of turn 3 there. Incredible. Between the pair of them. Not too sure what happened there. I was too busy focusing on Freedom pitting. Oh no, Lloyd pitting, should I say. And now Kieran Nag. And Kurst has got away quite well, actually. He hasn't lost too many positions. Kieran, though, has lost a lot of positions in that skirmish. And he's now down with the other Alpine of More Leader, who has actually lost a bit of pace compared to what he had earlier. He was up the order earlier on. As Owen Bozzy up into 6th. Great stuff by him, keeping his nose out of trouble. And I think Kurst is actually. Is Kurst off? He is. Kurst is off. He is. He's gone off at that very sharp corner before the strip. So the Venetian corner. Also getting a bit of action here with the Alpine of More Leader. The other Alpine, who's now right on the inside there. As Kieran Nag. Very aggressive with the Alpine. And actually, the AJ Nolan there. Great racecraft by him. And they're now going to go 3 wide. Heading out of the last corner. One of the Salmons are in. That's Tomas as well. Kieran Nag is going in after that contact. As meanwhile, we have the Alpine here looking for a move. Is he going to try and move on the inside? Kieran Nag gets a penalty and retires. Kieran Nag out of the race after that contact with the teammate of this driver, who is in 12th at the moment. Cursed it, heading around turn 1. And he's actually come out behind Tomas here. Keep an eye on Tomas to see if he will over or undercut anyone. As meanwhile, AJ Nolan gets passed by More Leader. That will very much help the Alpine squad out. Meanwhile, we have the trio up front, and also we have Turbo Chris still on a roll, still on a move, a man on a mission. From 17th, he's gone up 11 places, and he's now looking to get past another man, the man who he shared the 9th row on the grid with, Owen Bozzy. So as he heads down the straight here, we go on board with the Aston Martin. And the AMR 25 looking to catch up to the RB20. And he will. He's going to go right down the straight. Look at the speed he's going down the straight with now. Up into P5 for the 72 Aston Martin. Great stuff there to get past the number 6 of Owen Bozzy. Nicely done. As meanwhile, we have a Haas train. We have a Haas sandwich involving with a Stay Daisy and Freedom fill-in. Between the two of them for 8th and 9th. As meanwhile, there's not really a lot of battling going on track. There's a little bit of a battle nearly heating up between the two men at the back. There's a tight kind of pit stop management type battle up ahead in the top of the field. Heading into turn 5 for the 9th time. As now up the hill, you see the beautiful wide shot here before having a look at the sphere. So meanwhile, go back to Jammy. Oh no, we go back to Stay Daisy, should I say? Who's now behind another Ferrari customer. As we saw Jammy earlier on battling with the Sauber out of the top 5 to pit in this race. The first man who started in the top 5 to pit in this race. And he's on the hards. And he's now behind AJ Nolan. Now depending on how fast he clears him, he actually clears him very quickly. Is that DRS chicken or is that genuine loss of time out of that corner? Meanwhile, AJ Nolan, surprised he didn't do better in qualifying, if I'm honest. Would have thought he was up in P8 at one point, but he got shuffled down to P15 by the end of qualifying. No one else pitting at this stage, apart from Hazard Titch, who goes into the pits. The man who started outside the top 5 found himself inside the top 5, locking up in the pits. Heading over the line here. I think Jammy's just taking the lead. He has. Jammy is just taking the lead off of Raza Gamer. Stay Daisy's in the pits as well. More Leader in the pits as well. Rom Lawn gets a penalty. That's the worst luck possible for him. That's for track limits, I'm thinking. But meanwhile, Jammy and Stay Daisy, Jammy and Raza battle him. So Jammy now would take the lead of the championship as things stand. Meanwhile, Turbo Chris still being hounded by the Red Bull. Meanwhile, the Kick Sauber looking to kick himself out of the Ferrari and cook the Ferrari like steak. And is heading down into the Venetian corner. Flying around one sweeper, flying round the other. And into the Venetian corner. Onto the strip. Here we go. We're going to watch from the off-board cam. We can see the Sauber going down the straight here. He's in within DRS and overtaking range. He goes alongside. He gets past before he even turns on the DRS. And he flies past the Caesars Palace Hotel. And he flies past Jammy to take the lead of the race. And now Jammy, and now Owen Bozzi gets back past Turbo Chris. Interesting. That's going to hurt his strategy. Because Turbo Chris, doing all that battling, is going to have strategy. Meanwhile, Raza and Jammy, the top 2 pit. That means Nani takes the lead, staying out. Turbo Chris also pits, as he doesn't want to fight Owen Bozzi any longer to hurt his mediums anymore. He's just going to take the mediums off and use his hard tyres to get up the order. There's more people coming into the pits. There's an Alpine, there's a V-Carb of AJ Nolan and Kirst, both in the pits. We have the McLarens going through. Where's Rom Lawn actually? Let's find him. He's just had a Stay Daisy. He's up into 11th. Remember, he was the first one of anyone to pit. With the exception of Emil Cookin, but obviously Cookin wasn't pitting because he was trying to gain advantage. He was pitting because he was retiring. Heading into turn 5 here with Lloyd, who's just come out behind Turbo Chris. And Turbo Chris is actually side by side here. This could be a great move on the outside by Turbo Chris. Has a titch, might have twitches. See this move, and off goes Turbo Chris. He now lets Lloyd go back past after going wide. He just didn't have the grip to make that move stick. Meanwhile, Freedom is battling with the Sauber and into the back of the Haas. Elite Bleeder gets hit by Tomoz. Tomoz tanks into the back of him, and Freedom, looking at that, absolute madness here. As Elite Bleeder ahead of the Williams, but 3 cars barely separated by anything at super high speeds. They could go 3 wide. They don't. They keep it 2 wide. And now the Haas battling with the Sauber. They're side by side, and Elite Bleeder goes wide. That's going to let the Williams go through. And after Freedom's power slide earlier, now it's Elite Bleeder doing the sliding out of that final turn. And now Elite Bleeder gets off of those tyres. And now lets Raza and the other guys behind through, as now Tomoz takes back the lead of the race, but he is on the oldest rubber of anyone who started in the top 5. So heading down the straight into turn 5. Meanwhile, his teammate is battling Freedom in the Williams, and he does get past, although nearly has contact there. So fine margins between the pair of them. Meanwhile, Nanu's lost out massively from his pit stop, although he doesn't have the freshest rubber. Meanwhile, Jammy here, very late on the brakes. Hazardtitch gets a penalty for track limits. And meanwhile, look at this train though. Bozzy's holding up around the outside. And again, that move hasn't worked. Everyone keeps trying that move on the outside of the Sevilla chicane. But there's just not enough grip through there. The tyres don't grip enough to make that move possible. The Ferrari of Jammy gets ahead of Freedom. And now it's after the Saubers, who switch positions nearly. No, they don't. Well, they might do at the end of this straight. But yeah, there we go. They switch positions. Raza and Tomas side by side heading down the straight, lining the straight. A double slipstream for Jammy though. That will be enticing. Meanwhile, we go back to this Bozzy train of cars. And look at that. This could be an enticing battle, couldn't it? Look at that. Side by side with Hazardtitch and Owen Bozzy. Side by side with the Aston Martin, nearly. But they still stay in their own train, and Hazardtitch gets ahead of Owen Bozzy, but not on aggregate. Well, the Williams nearly had a crash there, but kept it in a straight line. That was Lloyd getting Lucy. And now Lloyd could get Turbo Chris if Turbo Chris doesn't get stayed by Daisy. But Daisy down the inside. Looking to make a move, not going to make it work. Turbo Chris down the inside, not going to make that one work either. The Saubers look like they're going to switch positions. They do again. The Saubers giving each other DRS to kind of slingshot away from the Ferrari. Meanwhile, this train of cars is very enticing. Keep an eye on this, because this could get frantic. We saw earlier Kieran Nag and the Alpine of Kirst have contact. And we also saw a lot of... It's just very easy to get Contentina around here. Not just at the start, but just anywhere. Especially with this chicane, which wasn't actually meant to be a part of the original layout. And now look at that Nanu. Nanu side by side with Freedom. And Freedom no longer has the freedom to stay in P4. He now goes down to P5, heading into the Venetian corner for the 13th time. Jammy though behind one of the Saubers. The Saubers breaking DRS. Turbo Chris getting passed by Stay Daisy, and actually Turbo Chris there really got hampered by that. He's now side by side with Rob Lawn, who goes by. Rob Lawn finally has a good turn of fortune here in Ground Effect Racing League and goes down the straight. But Turbo Chris looks like he's going to come back at the McLaren driver side by side. And I think Tomas and Jammy have just swapped positions. They have, as you can see on the graphic. I would look at that, but I'm just looking at this battle behind the other Ferrari, involving Turbo Chris and Rob Lawn. But Raza Gamer sets the fastest lap. He's going to have to keep putting those laps in, because he pitted at the same time as Jammy, but came out ahead of him, which will really help, because Dirty End this game is shocking. Meanwhile, Freedom's in the pits. Interesting. Freedom in the pits. Let's see what side he goes on. He's been on those hards all race then, but he's dropped down the order as they've aged, and he's now going on mediums. So very aggressive strategy by Freedom, who's now going to do the rest of this race on mediums. 11 laps on mediums. That could be good, but Kirst gets ahead of him. Meanwhile, we have this battle between the Saubers and the Ferrari. The Ferrari in a Sauber sandwich, which will definitely kick your taste buds. Excuse the pun. As we head down the straight here, heading down the Venetian S's under the bridge that connects the Venetian to the Virage? I'm not too sure what it's called there. As we head down the Nevada Strip, go past Caesar's Palace in about 3-2-1 now, if I'm not mistaken. As well, it doesn't look like there'll be a position swap between Jammy and that. Kieran Nag has left the session now. As meanwhile, we'll have a look back at the other Ferrari, who's battling with Lloyd. Owen Bozzy gets ahead of Hazardtitch. 3 wide down the strip, and the Ferrari gets ahead of Lloyd. And Lloyd, though, looking to keep the position on Turbo Chris. Turbo Chris not having any of it, and there's contact between the pair of them. Lloyd coming off worse. Lloyd again getting loose. Another Williams getting loose in that final section of corners before the final kink of turn 17, but that turn 15 corner really getting cars out loosey-goosey and sliding, and round goes Hazardtitch. Hazardtitch is round. Not the best way for a McLaren to be looking. More misfortune for the McLaren, and don't go the wrong way for too long, because you will get disqualified, as Owen Bozzy learned in qualifying. And it's nearly going round again for Hazardtitch, and Hazardtitch retires. Hazardtitch becomes the 4th man to retire from this race. The first man to retire was myself, after being spawned in as a Red Bull driver when I'm meant to be commentating. Then was Eamon Cookin, who retired after a very sloppy start. Then comes Kieran Nag, who retired after a lap after his collision with Kirst. Then came Hazardtich after that spin that you just saw. Not too sure the cause of it though. As going down the strip with Jammy, who looks to get back past Razagamer, take the lead of the Las Vegas Grand Prix and take the provisional lead of the championship ahead of Atom, who isn't racing today, but he is leading by 22 points over Jammy. So if Jammy wins, he will take the lead of the championship. Thomas gets a penalty, not the best thing for a Sauber driver, but he is ahead of Nanu by 3.5 seconds, so that will be fine. Meanwhile, it looks like, I think one of the Alpines, yes they have, one of the Alpines just got ahead of Elite Bleeder, and did Alpha Heat just disconnect? I think he did. I think Alpha Heat is disconnected, which isn't great for him. Is that Thomas in the pits? Thomas in the pits onto a new set of mediums, looking for a Freedom type strategy. If he comes out ahead of Freedom though, that would be very helpful, because otherwise you won't be fighting him. Actually, even better, he comes out a car ahead of Freedom. He comes out ahead of Elite Bleeder, so no blood has to be drawn off of the medium tyres that Thomas has just put on, although Alpha Heated might give him a heated exchange, as Jammy still in the lead. As you can see, the Ferrari ahead of the customer Ferrari car, the Razagamer, who's also running a Ferrari engine but just in a Sauber car, as the Kick Sauber looking to get back past the Ferrari down the strip. It looks like they just swap positions every lap on this strip as they head down one of the longest straights on the calendar, the second longest straight on the calendar, with only the Belgian Grand Prix at Spa having a longer straight, being the Camel Straight between Radion and Le Carmen's. Heading into the next corner, there isn't any changes for position for the lead. There is a change for the position between More Leader and Rom Lawn, Rom Lawn having a good race for McLaren here. Looks like he could do well. He's going to go for the move here. Lock up there for the car ahead. The two Hasses swap places. Alpha Heated has got back into the session, so that disconnection issue for his will now be resolved. And now Rom Lawn actually has come off worse, and looks like he could go in the pits. No, he's just going to let Thomas go, as Thomas is a lot quicker on those fresher mediums, and he's looking to carve his way back up the field. Keep an eye on him towards the end of this race, because he could very well get up to Stay Daisy and Owen Bozzy if his pace stays the way it is at the moment. As we head down into turn 5, look at the gap between the top two, and also the battle between Owen Bozzy and Stay Daisy. Both Ferraris in very close battles here. Meanwhile, we have the Sauber of Thomas looking for a move here on More Leader. He goes to the inside of the chicane, the Sphere chicane, and he does get past at the twister outside of the Sphere. Thomas with a good move. You can't go around the outside of the twister at the Sphere chicane, but you can go on the inside, as proven by Thomas. Meanwhile, we look to his teammate. Can he maybe get past? He can. He's got the run of all runs with DRS. He's going to go side by side with the Ferrari on the outside for Razagamer. He gets chopped off though. He doesn't take the position, funnily enough. So maybe that's because he gets a bad run out here though. I think although getting DRS here is nice, and get DRS for the next straight on the way into turn 5, that would be nice. Track position is everything around here, especially with the F125 Dirty Air. It is very valuable track position wise. I don't know if that's just to save tyres or something. I don't know if that's why he's staying behind or not, but meanwhile we have the Ferrari, the other Ferrari of Stay Daisiest. Meanwhile, Rom Lawn gets into the pits, and after being in a bit of trouble with the Haas's and with the Alpine, after going from about 9th, he falls down behind Elite Bleeder, and he was being caught by the reconnected Alpha Heated. He's now decided to pit and go for a similar strategy to Thomas towards the end of this race. So he's going to come out now down in 14th. So we'll see how many places he can make up. Freedom is now only up into 12th, but he's 1.5 seconds behind the Haas pair. Well, the first of the Haas pair, should I say. There's a big lock-up for Jammy. That's going to be a flat spot, and that will hurt rolling resistance over this straight. So this could invite Razza to maybe get past. I don't think if he does get past, track position is so valuable. He needs to do it on this straight because the other two places to have DRS aren't really as good. But I feel like he was holding back on the last attempt. But meanwhile, someone who isn't holding back is State Daisy, who's going to state his claim to get past Owen Bozzy, who's now in a dizzying 5th, which is lower than 4th, obviously 5 points lower than if you got 4th. Lost myself for words there. As meanwhile, we have the leading Ferrari, the man who's leading the championship as things stand, Razza, Jamie in the Ferrari, Razza here, who we're on board with. We're on the right of his helmet, his Lewis Hamilton themed helmet, and we're now on the right, on the left of the Sauber driver's helmet. As a big lock up there for Jamie, that put him out of shape. We're now on top of Razza's helmet, and we're looking to see if Razza can get on top of this situation with Jamie to try and win this race. As Razza, him and Lloyd have won the most races. Speaking of Lloyd, side by side off the track for Thomas there. Interesting as they go side by side into the wall. Contact. That's a massive shot for the pair of them. As the Sauber does get by, as Thomas retires. Thomas out. Thomas, after that crash, has gone off and out of this race. The Sauber on the most aggressive strategy in the race so far. Pitted for mediums. He's done a 2-stop strategy, and after contact with Lloyd, he is out. But not because of terminal damage, due to his own choice. Interesting. So Lloyd now stuck in between the two Haas pair. Very interesting collision there. It looked like the Williams got kind of forced out there. If I'm honest, looked like it was very much a car's width, but only just for the Williams. Meanwhile, the other Sauber, the sole remaining Sauber now, Razza Gamer, looking to get past the higher of the two Ferraris. So the number 99 Sauber looking to get past the number 99 Ferrari. And I'm not too sure. I mean, Antonio Giovinazzi and WEC is very quick, very good on race paces, very good at race craft as well, very good at race management. So let's see if these drivers can do the same thing. They have Antonio's old number from F1, number 99. So let's see if they can put the 100% in race completion and overall race happiness, as Alpha Heated gets back past the Williams at the Twister section, and big slide there for the Haas. So Haas up ahead of Williams in their respective constructors battle. Ferrari look like they're going to inhale the most constructors points of anyone in terms of the Constructors' Championship, which will help them massively in their battle with Williams and with Mercedes. Mercedes obviously losing a driver outside the points. They do have Nanus. Meanwhile, Owen Bozzy looking to make Ferrari's Constructors' hopes go down the drain by putting his Red Bull up to 4th. As we have Razza Gamer up ahead, still trying to work away past Jamie, not able to do anything. It's the keep an eye on the Haas's and the Williams as well in 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th, because their battle for the Constructors, more specifically Williams, who are trying to battle Mercedes for the top honours in the Constructors. That could be very important. Sauber as well, they do need a decent point haul, but with Thomas going out the race, that's really hurt their points haul. So it's now all down to Razza Gamer to take at least some points away. He looks like he'll get 18, but he's looking to get 25 if he can. Obviously 25 points for Jamie would put him ahead of his Ferrari teammate, but in the Constructors, that as Lloyd and Freedom swap places, the Williams swapping places. I think that looked like it was intentional to see if Freedom on his newer mediums can get past the Haas. We'll get the tyre graphic up for you just so you know what you're on about. Also, a quick mention to Owen Bozzy, who's up 14 places from where he qualified. He qualified in 18th, he's now up into 4th. great race by him so far. Let's also get the tyre graphic up. There we go. So as you can see, Freedom with the newer mediums, I think I can see the logic, but as meanwhile State Daisy gets ahead of Owen Body, taking back P4 again. Meanwhile, yeah, as we see the Williams battle with the Haas of Alpha Heated, I think I know why they swapped, because as you can see, newer medium tyres versus older harder tyres. I think Freedom is the better option to try and go after Alpha Heated and take at least one more point for the Williams team if possible. Well, obviously Alpha Heated is a very quick driver, but with those old hards, depending on who goes through graining when, it could be anyone's guess. So, but we head around. We have the battle for the lead. We have the battle for 4th between Owen Body and Stay Daisy as well. We also have this battle for P9 between the Williams pair. We also have a little battle here between the other Haas of Elite Bleeder, who's looking to go for a move on more leader, looking for the inside, not going to get it done as they head round the twister. We'll check in on them again in a minute, but we're gonna have a look at the battle for the lead because I want to see if Razat does go for a move here. He's going out into clean air here, so he's not tucking into the slipstream or anything. He's not taking track position. It looks like he's saving. Looks like he's biding his time for some reason that I cannot think of. He's biding his time, but he's not going for any moves. He's not taking it to Jammy yet. And he had the opportunity to a couple laps ago. But I don't know if that's just because Raz has abused his tyres a bit more, so he's trying to save them, or if that's just a little bit of a strategy from Razza to maybe just help out Jammy. I don't know. But meanwhile, we go back to this battle. More leader, still ahead of the Haas, who's in 8th. And he's looking to put car in between him and his teammate. They're side by side nearly, heading through. And now around the outside of the Haas. That could be a great move if it is to be done. Very good move by the Haas. He doesn't have the traction. No, he does. He's down the inside of more leader, who had a crash. No, that was his teammate. His teammate had a crash with Kieran Nag at this very corner. But more leader still stayed ahead. But they're side by side. They nearly make contact. They do make contact. Let's contact. The Alpine crashes with the Haas. And the 45 car gets hit. They were going down the straight. As Elite Bleeder went for the inside, he found out there was no space. He went to the outside. And I think more leader went to the outside with him to try and help him on the inside and give him enough space to avoid a crash. As Elite Leader went to the outside, more leader did the same thing, and they both just went to the side together. Absolute miscommunication there. Either way, they're still battling, even with that damage. Side by side into the Venetian corner. The Alpine gets ahead of the Haas. Back up into 7th for more leader, who leads the Haas pair. After that incredibly clumsy incident between the pair of them. They head down to straight here. Also, look at this battle. I think the Williams could finally get the move on the other Haas. So it could be double Haas disaster on lap 24. Or it could be, actually, maybe, a better day for Haas than I expected. As up into 7th. As, slide there for Alpha Heated, who's just about stayed ahead of the Williams. As, meanwhile, Freedom's teammate just had a massive power slide. Massive save from him. Nicely done. But the Elite Bleeder gets finally ahead of more leader, heading into someone on lap 24. And meanwhile, Alpha Heated still under pressure from Freedom in the 46 car, although those hearts are going to die off soon. So yeah, they're going to have to watch out. But we are on the penultimate lap. Keep an eye on that battle for the lead, because that could very well change. As meanwhile, massive lock up for Elite Bleeder. And Elite Bleeder's teammate has just got blocked past by Freedom. The 46 car gets up into 9th and scores a few more points. I say a few more, one more point for Williams in their hunt for the Constructors' Championship ahead of Mercedes. Although I reckon Nanu's 3rd place is really going to help them out. Right, let's see what Razza does. I want to see what he does here now. Does he take track position, or does he wait till the final lap to pounce, or is he going to let Jammy have it? I'm not too sure. I'm very confused on what Raz is doing. I would have thought he would have taken track position by now, but he hasn't, which is surprising. Meanwhile, State Daisy still under pressure from the Red Bull Bozzy. Bozzy really putting the pressure on. That's the closest the leaders have been to each other for a long time. Under 2 tenths. Keep an eye on this battle on the final lap. Just checking in on the Haas's and their progress, but they're just about keeping themselves at bay. And meanwhile, one of the Williams is round. Lloyd gets loose and spins out of turn 16. Rom Lawn is going to get up into P12 after his misfortune, after a strategy call that hasn't gone right. Meanwhile, down the inside for Gamer, lock up for the Sauber driver, not going to make it work. And more leader and the Williams of Freedom have swapped places. And as they head down into turn 5, more leader after his crash here a lap ago is now side by side with the Williams car. Massive lock up for the Haas. Freedom could go from 10th to 7th in 2 laps. Incredible stuff. As his teammate fell to misfortune. Lock up there, nearly contact between the pair of them. The Williams nearly has a crash. Meanwhile, Raza Gamer, his last chance to take the lead of this race. On the last lap, 3 tenths, 2 tenths. Is it going to be 1 tenth? It is 1 tenth. Could it be the move he's looking for? He's not late enough on the brakes. Although Jammy goes wide. That could be it. 3-second penalty. Then side by side, Jammy's crumbled. Raza Gamer on the final complex of corners will take the win. And Jammy, who couldn't take the lead in the championship, will not. Raza Gamer wins for the 3rd time in Ground Effect Racing League, ahead of Nanu, who got ahead of Jammy on penalties. And meanwhile, let's check in on the Haas battle, who's battling with the Williams and more leader gets ahead of the other Haas. The Alpines are pouncing on Alpha Heated. Meanwhile, Elite Bleeder heading into the final corner. He looks like he's going to stay ahead of the Williams. Meanwhile, look at that, 3 wide behind with the 2 Alpines and the Haas. They both go over the line. Both Alpines don't score points, as both Haas's do score points in this race. Incredible stuff here. As heading out of turn 3, meanwhile, we have Lloyd again round. And has he got a puncture? He has a puncture. He does, look, puncture on the rear right tyre. AJ Nolan. Oh, massive slide there for AJ Nolan. Yeah, massive stuff here for Jammy here, who lost the lead of the championship. He had the lead of the championship in his grasp, but unfortunately on that last corner he lost the car and lost his chance at the lead of the championship. He stays behind Atom in the championship, only by a few points. The gap is shortened, I'll give him that, but he has thrown away a chance to take the lead of the championship. And also he's also given Nanu P2, which will close the gap between him in the championship as well. So heading into the next race at Abu Dhabi, it's a 3-way fight for the title, maybe 4-way, depending on how many points, depending on Turbo Chris and what that result means for the championship. But it is mainly going to be a fight between the 2 Ferraris and this Mercedes of Nanu. That was incredible. As meanwhile, finishing the race on 3 wheels is Lloyd, who had a great race up until the last lap, or the penultimate lap, should I say. Massive misfortune for him. As his AI crashes into the wall. But yeah, massive result there for the Sauber of Raza Gamer, making up for the misfortune that beheld the other Sauber of Tomoz, who again, after a great race in Austria for the Alpine squad, comes to Sauber, comes to Sin City, and comes to a DNF, unfortunately. But Raza Gamer has won the most races in the Division 3 for this league this season, and he's hitting the griddy. And after that, we have 2 Brits on the podium and 1 German. And it's a great race. As Jammy, as you can see him there in the red, he could have had the lead of the championship now, but he will have to settle for second in the championship for a bit longer. That was Ground Effect Racing League round 11 of season 9 of this league. Thank you ever so much for watching both streams if you watched the pre-season stream. And yeah, if anyone wants an interview, I am happy to do one. Kieran Nag hasn't joined the party yet, as apparently there's new stuff in chat, but I haven't seen it. There is nothing new in chat. As yep, massive stuff here. As GG. But yeah, massive stuff. As you can see, driver of the day for Own Bozzy. Most overtakes by Freedom. The cleanest driver was Nanu. Fastest lap was by Jammy, so he gets another point. But the race winner was indeed Raza Gamer for the 3rd time in 11 races of this season. We head to Abu Dhabi next week. Same time, same day. Monday the 13th of September at 8 PM UK time. We'll see you later. What a race. Thank you ever so much for watching, and goodbye.